We are going to have shortly seated an amazing table of entrepreneurs joining us today. Brian Lam is, of course, our featured guest. He will be interviewed by Cindy Wu and Zachary Kim, and all three of them are super successful in their fields and passionate about helping entrepreneurs in Hawaii. Brian, we're all anxious to learn more about you, and I'm sure Cindy and Zach will uncover all the juicy details. So with that, I'll have you guys take a seat.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy. Sorry we're late. My fault.
So I think it's best if we start with introductions, and maybe we can start with Brian. Who are you?
I'm Brian. I started the Wirecutter. I've been an editor my whole career, and I went to business undergrad. So I think it's great talking to you guys, but I really did so many other things before that. Like I switched majors like 5 times. So it all kind of rolled together for me in my life, and looking forward to sharing my story.
And when did you move to Hawaii? A long time ago.
Not that long on the scale, maybe
On the geological scale?
Yeah, just, it's like, you don't raise your eyebrows to someone's like 30, 40 years, right? It's like 10 years, it's not that much.
So you're way ahead of the curve. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you today, and you as well, Cindy, and thank you for putting this together. And I'll just give a little bit about myself. So I was born and raised here in Hawaii. I got my start, not very far away from here in technology. I was working at a company called GuideNet, which was a very, very early internet startup created by actually one of the professors here at UH, Richard Halverson. So Dr. Halverson, thank you for giving me my start. I did a computer engineering undergrad at the University of Denver. I worked in neurosurgical methods research, and then I've done I've worked in startups after that, and my background's in software, and so worked everything from web design, mobile development, server backend stuff, and then most recently I started a company called Float Capital, where I'm the CTO, and we are hiring if anybody's interested, and that's kind of my background.
Thanks for sharing, both of you. So Zach and I know each other because during the pandemic, we searched every Monday, Wednesday, Friday together, and we many movies together. But I'm curious, how did you two meet?
Mutual friend.
Yeah.
My friend Helena.
Yeah.
Used to live in the same building as you, and I just moved there from San Francisco.
Yeah, Helena Price. So she's a famous Silicon Valley photographer. She's photographed everybody from a lot of CEOs and even I think some former presidents and stuff like that. And so she was my neighbor, and then she was the one that introduced Brian years later.
Nice.
Yeah, she's great.
So Brian, your name comes up very often because I work with a friend named David Lang.
Oh yeah.
And he said that one time you accompanied him and his friend Eric to this cave to look for gold. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I forgot about that. My life has been really random.
Did you find any gold? Sorry, I guess that's the end of the story. Sorry. Yeah.
They didn't. Actually, I'll tell you the story. So I started my business when I left. Do any of you remember Gawker Media? I used to run the technology site, and it was a really crazy job doing news at that speed. Like when I started that job, the New York Times was still publishing it once a day. So they really hadn't made any digital transition other than having a website, but culturally they really didn't get it. It was just really amazing to be writing news in a time where the New York Times didn't think they needed to publish minute by minute. And that job was really intense. I probably gained 30 pounds. I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now. So it was a really, really high stress job. And I left and I kind of designed my life from there. I didn't want that kind of job, and I wanted a freelance. I was writing about the ocean more than an exploration, something I wanted to transition to from technology. And so I met David, who, because they were building a mini submarine. I don't know if it's technically a drone. It's an ROV basically.
Mini submarine sounds great.
Yeah, it's like lunchbox size, and it was really cool. And they were going to test it by going to this mine, this flooded mine, that supposedly someone had hidden gold in it. But for some reason, it was like you couldn't go in with scuba gear, or we couldn't go in. We didn't have the technical ability as divers. So they sent the robot down and they did a test, and then there were some technical issues. And I think we drove like 8 or 9 hours into Northern California to do that story. Did I write? I think I wrote that for the New York Times. I can't remember.
I remember reading it when it came out. Yeah. You guys had to get pretty, it sounded like it got pretty hairy too. Like you're out in the middle of nowhere and you didn't have any support from anybody around there. And like if anything went wrong, you just kind of had to deal with it yourself.
Yeah, they almost lost the robot, but it's like a
Yeah.
robot, so it might have been over dramatized for the story. But I mean, it was cool. It was
Yeah.
cool. It was
Do you
different.
think there's gold in there still?
No, what happened was before they went out again, so they did the story, and like then it drew attention to the mine, and then some real professional divers and treasure hunters, they just went in and mapped the whole thing, and they were like, "There's no gold here." So they basically stole the story. But I told them, I'm like, you sure you want to write about this now? Like, usually you wait till you get the gold before you like let people know. But they wanted the publicity, and
Sounds like David.
yeah, he was really. They're just going forward all the time.
What was it like writing for the New York Times? I mean, that must have been pretty.
I mean, I
Pretty
remember reading the Times when I was like 7,
Yeah.
and it always meant something to me, and it was really important for me. I built Wirecutter to be sold to the Times, basically.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did in my heart.
Yeah.
Like I actually designed like it sounds funny because I'm a dad now and I don't care what I haven't gotten a haircut since the pandemic. But I designed, like, I knew what I was gonna wear. I had something designed by a tailor to be worn when I signed the papers. And I
Oh,
wore it.
wow.
I did that 2 years before.
Wow.
But it's not that complicated. I mean, it's the one thing they weren't good at, I was good at.
Sure.
And I didn't do any other types of like media, like news, or I didn't do anything that they already had.
Mhm.
So it just fit right in there,
And did you kind of leverage those previous relationships with the Times to, like, who approached whom first?
I approached the editors. The
Yeah.
editors all respected my work. They knew about my work. We just made a point of doing work good enough that it was the best that ever existed.
Mhm.
And so I think it was a lesson on focus and just being so focused, because everyone in media is trying to hit the whole spectrum from like tweets to features and videos, and they're trying to do so much stuff, and usually it all looks the same. But we were just like, we're going to be the best at this one very highly commercializable thing,
Yeah.
and the thing that they were bad at, and we're going to do it with a lot of heart and integrity, and we're going to wear that on our sleeve.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
And you think that they responded? I
I
mean,
would,
obviously,
I
the
would
site
go
was
into
very
I would go
popular.
into meetings and be
Yeah.
like, the work you guys are doing, your readers deserve better than this, and you deserve better than this. But I knew, and they would all go like, because I knew that they all, from my friends who work there,
Yeah.
the guy doing the reviews at the time, everyone hated. The Times is a super political place, and I knew no one really respected his work, because one of the loopholes in the ethics of Times reporters, I don't know if this is still the case,
Mhm.
they have a salary and it's below market because you get to work at the Times, but they make money on speaking engagements, book deals, et
Oh,
cetera, et
interesting. I
cetera.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because
Yeah.
it's not conflicted really. I mean, they must have rules about you can't take money from companies you cover, et cetera.
Sure.
but
Sure.
There's tons of like neutral places that will want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
as an expert.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this person was extremely on that, because some people are just like, they do it maybe, or they don't do it. And this guy was like leveraging that hard.
Mhm.
He wasn't focused on his job.
Yeah.
And so I just said, hey, let's collaborate on some pieces. We did some collaborations and they tested through the roof because they were so good. We lost money on them, but of course, it's not the point.
Yeah.
But then when the business side got interested, they went to the newsroom and they were like, they took some senior editors and they said, hey, we gave you this amount of money, like the amount of money that the deal could have been.
Yeah.
could you replicate this? And they did a study and they were like, we could never replicate
I
this.
mean, they in-house couldn't do it
No way. No.
because they didn't have the they didn't have the engineering, they didn't have the product.
They didn't have the
In-house.
heart or the
They didn't
spirit.
have the heart of the
Well, I
spirit.
mean, the thing that I wanted to say today is the people I find that have the hardest time in the workplace that I've seen are business people who are straight business people. Take that as an opportunity to get interested in something. Like people who don't have interest outside of business, it's really hard for them to start a business because then they're just constantly pivoting to what's trendy. And I've been an editor who's been reviewing gear for most of my career. And there was a point where, and it's not the case anymore, but there's a point where with the Michael Jordan of that, just, I could just see how it could always be better and I was the best at it. And so that's the heart of what I was doing.
So it was having the media background and then layering kind of layering the education, the business education on top of that.
Well,
that
I didn't-
made you
The
successful.
only thing that made me realize that I had a good sense for business was, first of all, this business in service of this idea I wanted to do.
Mhm.
It's like, how can I make this thing work so it's sustainable and it's profitable, so we can have reserves and invest in the future. And those skills only came out when my business partners, which I hope they won't listen to this, I would be like, how are we doing? They'd be like, I don't know. It's like, well, how much money you make this quarter? They'd be like, I don't know. You don't have like a quarterly statement of.
Like your business partner's not at Wirecutter.
No, I founded Wirecutter with a publishing group
Hmm.
and they had really big hearts, but operationally they left a lot to be desired. And I let them go because they wouldn't be able to, they just were so conflicted and pulled in so many directions. They weren't focused on Wirecutter. So I just started to realize that all the stuff I learned in school really came in useful. And that's like, it was like 15 years later. I hadn't used it at all. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I remember that class I got a C in for like accounting or finance or operations or just all these things. Strategy was really important for me. And I learned a lot and it took so many years for that to come around.
You know, maybe it'd be good to kind of take a step back. So because you had a lot of changes in your career, and I mean, you know, like I'm just blown away that you were kind of at Gawker during the whole iPhone incident. Or sorry, was that
That was
Wire?
us, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk about that and how you got yelled at by Steve Jobs, and then you know, and then I mean that is enough, I think, for anybody's career, right? Like that path is enough for anybody's career, and you decided to kind of take that and go in a different direction, and then you saw success founding and creating Wirecutter, and I mean even just running that company, and then even past that you decided to kind of exit, right, to sell to the Times. So you know, like your media career, like that was the first 10 years of your career, would you say? Like how long were you doing that before you kind of decided to move on to like kind of more running, like creating and running companies?
I think the thing that is worth, the way that this all makes sense, all these random things, is that I'm a very compulsive person. When I want to do something, I don't think I can stop myself.
Yeah,
And I also go really hard. Like,
yeah.
I go harder than most people. It's not really that good. It's not that healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm a
That's
dad.
the weight gain, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
now I'm a dad.
Yeah.
And so I try to be much more dad-like.
Yeah.
And that feels really good. But when I was younger, I was unstoppable and a lunatic, and just nothing could stop me.
I mean, do you think that's, you know, that's kind of a meme in both the startup and business community,
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah, and then yeah. You know, I think they call it you know, hustle
Psychotic.
culture or what, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
psychotic. But you know, it's kind of like, well, gets results, right? Like you have people like Elon Musk who say they work, 16 hours a day, and obviously, and Jeff Bezos, and like all these.
Zach, have you been guilty of this?
Yeah, well, yeah, we all have, I
No,
think.
Wirecutter, I only worked like 20, 30 hours a week because I was owner, we didn't have investors.
Yeah,
And that was very intentional.
I was a good manager. I mean, like, I read a lot of books and I had a really good coach, expensive coach. And it was worth every penny. I wasn't a perfect boss, but if I was bothering people, it was to make the work better. And I think most CEOs are trying to not always do that. They're
Yeah.
trying to get you to not spend so much money and do something balanced.
Yeah.
Where I was like, let's spend the money. Let's
and
spend, there'll
do
be more
something
money later.
exceptional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you talk more about the process of having a coach? Me and Danny also sought a coach after we basically sunk the first startup, and I was like, maybe it's me.
It's so critical. So I thought I could use a coach. I just was interested in a research project, a really insane, in-depth research project, which Wirecutter is known for research, if some of you don't know that. I'm just going a little bit too far, or sometimes a lot. So I did a project internally on how to run a company. What's the best way to like have meetings and just get everyone on the same page. And there's like really a lot of great role models. Like Pixar is really great. They have a philosophy we took on about every movie can only improve or hurt your reputation. And I took the same attitude. There's no like cruising. And
But you still take risks.
Zappos is good at encoding culture, which I wish I did more.
Yeah.
There's lots of great, I think there's a right way to run a company, to be honest. I think there's like a right way.
That doesn't require you to put in 100 hours.
It depends if that's a separate thing. So it's like if you have investors, you can't do what I did.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
will say that if you're just really good at something and you can do it 20, 30 hours a week or 30 hours, then probably it's like a kung fu movie where someone's fighting with one hand behind their back.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of trying to do. It's
Yeah.
trying to be really artful about it. Because then when you only have like, and I think a lot of our early employees, they would know, like, I only care about your impact. I don't care about your hours.
Mhm.
If you can have the same impact in half the time, like go hang out with your kids, go do something else, go have a hobby, have a life, take a vacation. I don't care.
Okay, well, let me
But
ask
I
you
only wanted hitters. So we were like savage at
And
finding.
then you got some really impressive results with a workforce of 85% female.
Yeah, well, we fired a lot of the people that would talk, and typically, once you guys, or maybe you know this, when you go to a big company, there's people there to make their stature go up based on the reputation of the company. And in a big place, it's sort of good, like if you're really sick and you don't show up, you have to take time off for a year at a big company, they'll support you. It's like what the closest thing you can get to like social support in America, I guess. But in a small company, everyone has to hit really hard. You have to carry your weight and then some. And in order to take better care of those people, you have to get rid of people. I really think firing is a really, in my sick mind, it's a really noble thing to graduate someone out of your company where they can go somewhere where they fit better. So I'm really into that. And when one day I turned around and we ended up with like 85% minority and women leadership, and it was all the people who were left. They're just the people who are used to being paid 73 or 77 cents on the dollar and not being listened to and being passed over for promotions on the mainland. And it was great. And a lot of that was just, I think it was somehow informed by being here, just having, it's just, when you go and you see how a New York company operates after living here for a while, you start to realize all the tiny little microaggressions. And I remember I was in a helping hire, and there were two candidates, and they were talking about, after all the interviews, about the pros and cons of each. And they were talking about one, he was a LGBT Asian male, and then someone who was like white guy with a beard who happened to be in the military. And they talked like this guy had so much less management experience than this. And in the middle of this like meeting, I looked at our resumes, and this guy actually had like more management experience, but he didn't smell or look or sound like a manager, and he wasn't as confident. He was talking about himself. And I called it. I'm like, hey guys, I found myself being racist right now. I want to tell you about it. I can kind of like code switch into like a corporate environment sometimes. And I was like, I don't think we've got this perception right. Turned out they hired the LGBTQ Asian male, and he knocked it out of the park, and everyone was like, I can't believe we almost passed over this person. And I'm like, this happens all the time. Don't feel bad, but it's an opportunity. It's really what it is at the end of the day.
Were you able, because at the end of the day, I mean, I guess maybe you could do this, but at the end of the day, you can't hire everybody at the company, right? The company goes past a certain point. You
Yeah,
can't do that. Did you think about how to kind of instill those values in kind of like the VP level or the next level?
I feel like you can't, because so much of hiring is like psychological meshing. Like people that remind you of your siblings and some people are fixers and they are really good when they work for you. But when they're hiring, they often will draw people to them who they need fixing. And it's like, there's all this amazing psychology and there's an emotional layer of work that people can't officially engage with in corporations. But in a startup, like I had some weird dynamics with my editor-in-chief, and we like went to a workplace psychologist and we like figured out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was
so
just about.
You really did the work then.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I knew like we were both like reminding each other of like family members that were really triggering to each other.
Yeah.
And we just like, we talked on that level. And you
Yeah.
can't do that in a big company. It's
Yeah.
just not how companies are. But like understanding people and how they work, and like whether that's a reader or your teammates, if you're committed to those people, like you can do that emotional work and figure it out.
Do you think that, you know, with kind of the switch to whether it's permanent or not, you know, people right now are much more remote friendly. And do you think that, I know that can help and hurt in certain ways, but do you think that helps with kind of removing some of those biases in the hiring process?
I mean, unless it's like everyone gets to use like an animated character where they're not, you can't, in a voice changer, it's like, it's
Yeah.
so deep in culture, sexism and racism,
Yeah.
all these biases. I have them, we all have them.
Yeah.
I'm actually, you know, I spent a lot of time growing up in Hong Kong where like, there's not so much shame about racism. It's just kind of like, it's like Hawaii. It's like,
Yeah, it's
you
part of the
know,
culture.
is your landlord Chinese? Is
Yeah.
it? Should I say this?
Say whatever
Say
you
the
want.
landlord's probably Chinese, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's just, you see, like, we're just kind of like more at ease. Maybe there's less guilt about it here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of how I grew up. And
Yeah.
so you can't say that stuff in a big company.
Yeah, especially a big mainland company. But that's the other thing that I think we should just point out is you started, built, and sold Wirecutter while you were here in Hawaii, right?
This place really just, no one will understand except the people here. Just the energy and the cadence. You know, when you go to New York and it's like billboards and it smells like hot garbage and then people are running around. It's just, the world is crazy, and I just feel like the energy here really can inform something about work that it's just so beautiful.
You know what it is, because I think about a lot about this too, because being from here and then moving to the mainland, there is the attitude that people, maybe not necessarily from here, but come here they're on vacation, right? They're not serious about work, and it's not on purpose, but it is an idea that permeates the startup culture up there. It's not a big part, but it's a part.
What do you think?
What do I think about?
Everything.
Everything. So I think.
Well, sorry,
yeah.
let me just finish my thought real quick. I think, you know, you asked what is it about Hawaii, and I talked with Rob a lot about this, and I think it's balance. Like ultimately, balance beats out. Hawaii is really good at balance because, well, I don't know why. I actually don't know why, you know, but
Do you feel more
know,
balanced when you're here? than when you're
absolutely, absolutely. Like I'm so, like you were talking about being healthy, and then we have a friend, Josh Young, who's a early YC founder, and he talks about it all the time. Like he moved here from Southern California, and just it basically fixed him, you know, like it fixed his psyche. And
Is
I
that
think
something to do with Hawaii or something to do with the mainland?
Yeah, it's both, right?
yeah. But anyway, so that's my theory is balance.
Hmm.
I feel we've only been here for 3 years now, And I feel like Hawaii has already like given me more than I can ever give back.
That's
And I
true.
don't know where it comes from or like how to like hold it and show it, but
Yeah,
it's very, very clear
Yeah.
to me. And it's not like, I think I'm working harder than I've ever worked. It's not like I'm relaxed.
I think the best gift you can give Hawaii is tell your friends not to move. I tell people all the time, it's terrible, it's all this crime, it's just, the sun's really hot, it's only getting hotter.
Okay, I'm gonna adopt that.
It's like
but
you
yeah,
said,
there is
there's no
something.
distractions here, you know,
Yeah, that too.
I think like part of me retiring at 39 is, I don't watch sports.
Yeah.
You can start a company.
Yeah.
I've never really been one to do like kind of nightlife socializing. Yeah, I have a smaller and smaller set of friends. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, there's just not a lot of distractions here. Like I'm not going to shows, I'm not even really going to that many museums. I'm not, you know, how many times can you go through the museum? It's like, so it's just like me, my family, the water, a couple
Yeah.
friends.
Nature, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
surfing yesterday with my friend Matt, and I was just thinking, so I wake up like every morning at dawn and then I go surf, we surf together, but I don't know where you've been lately.
I'm in Wavanala. It's like a 35-minute drive up there.
But I was like counting the hours that I spend in the water, and it's a lot of hours. It's
Yeah.
like 3 to 4 hours every morning except for Thursday, because I take all my meetings.
Yeah,
on
but that's a
Thursdays.
little crazy.
Long sessions.
And
It's two types of long
Matt
session
was like-
surfers, the ones who are sitting there on the shoulder and the ones getting a lot of weight.
And then Matt was like, you spend a lot of time doing this. And I was like, I'm not really sure what I was doing before this. Like, if I could have my way, I probably would have done this my whole life.
So you think you like manifested an extra 4 hours per day, is what you're saying? Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
feels like.
or like
yeah.
I'm faster at the stuff when
Yeah.
I'm at the computer. or
How long have
something.
you worked remote? Both of you?
I mean, I kind of semi-retired in 2016, so I was always doing, yeah, so I kind of want to say never, because I don't know what that, you know, it's like I was working for Google remote or anything. I've always kind of, since then, just done my own stuff, but, you know.
The amount of time saved over like 15, 20 years of not commuting is just.
Oh, the
amazing.
commute, yeah, yeah.
If you just pencil it out, it's like an extra couple of years.
No, because what, it was SF to Mountain View, what, that's like an hour on the bus, 2 hour, an hour there, hour back every day, yeah.
There's traffic.
Well, what do you guys think? Anyway, not to put too fine a point in it, I think Hawaii is a great place to start a business and
I
not
thought we
like,
just agreed to tell people not to come.
oh,
here.
yeah, sorry. What-
You can
Anyways,
grow
go
the
ahead.
business here,
I'll
the
tell you,
employees can be at the neighborhood.
Yeah. And also it's kind of, you know, the thing that, well, we don't have to get into it. We can talk about that some other time, but I think it's really cool that you did that and kind of paved the way for the rest of us to do it as
I
well.
don't know. I wasn't really like, I was working so much. I can't say I was really plugged into community here.
Yeah.
The way that some people come here, just
Yeah.
truthfully, some people come here and they get into it with other founders, and I haven't really participated in that. But I don't think that's about Hawaii. That's just my style is heads down. I've been doing a little bit of like nonprofit work, and I've been doing some like helping some VCs out, understanding like what's good and what's bad in media. And one's like, they both are just kind of like not that pure in terms of like focus. One thing is like a lot of networking, because you have to just meet a lot of people. naturally.
Specifically in media or kind of in general?
In, I think, VC stuff.
Yeah.
You have to just be talking with people, founders, and often doesn't end up anywhere.
Yeah, not, I mean, but like we raised, and granted, this is a pandemic raise. I mean, we did the whole thing over Zoom, right? Like every investor we talked to was over Zoom.
How many hours do you think you spent raising? What percent of your time?
I mean, not that much. I think
I think that's because you guys are, this isn't. your
sure,
first
yeah,
venture.
it's a little bit different. So we did, the background on Float is we did YC 20 summer 21. And, you know, YC is Y Combinator. It's a startup accelerator based in Mountain View. And the way they do it is they kind of, they have a day called Demo Day, and everybody in the YC batch presents, and then all the investors kind of send you an email if they want to invest, right? And so it's not typical it's not a typical process. But say we had done the typical process, right? We sent out a bunch of emails to, you know, hey, we love your firm, and, you know, we think we're like this company, and we know this person. I mean, we still would have time boxed it to 2 weeks, I think, 2 or 3 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Some people just never stop raising. I don't
Yeah.
know how they can operate it.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how they can
Yeah, I
do it.
don't know how people could do that.
Yeah.
They're like, I've been raising for 7 months. I'm like, what are you doing?
For years, once you stop, it's time to start another.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
But do
but I
you
feel
think
like
that?
YC puts us in a very optimal situation. 'Cause we
Yeah.
also raise money in like 10 days, and like it's not supposed to happen.
But even, okay, so the question is, do you think that you could raise, so say you are starting, let's have this as as like kind of the what if, right? So you're starting a company in Hawaii, you can't just go down to Sand Hill Road and like talk to a bunch of people, right?
And you're first time founder.
And you're a first time founder, yeah. Like, do you think that you could do?
I would tell them to
entirely-
go to the mainland.
Yeah, I would tell them to go.
No, I would too. Like, you guys were where I was
But I
at
don't
like
think
a
you get
year
to
ago.
Oh, but you have a
seriously.
different opinion now.
I have a different opinion now,
Your
yeah.
opinion changed.
Well, on it, yeah, because
Even if you find a good founder and they don't, I mean, like, there, if you don't have a full team put together,
yeah,
Correct me
that's
if I'm
true.
wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
is someone gonna be like, oh yeah, you'll find your team here? Is that how people are gonna perceive it?
Like you said, you're hiring. You think you're gonna find the talent here, or you think you're gonna have to look elsewhere?
Let's,
I mean,
That's-
honestly,
that's the-
but that just might be my biases, right? Like, I would love to, and actually maybe, you know, everybody can help me with this. Like, I would love an intro into the computer science department here, you know, especially the grad program. And like, I would love to talk to, you know, like here's the bottom line. I think the top 1% coming out of the master's program here, yeah, absolutely, right? Now, I have a network. Well, so there's that, right? So objectively, yes, no question, can hire people here locally. Now, will I? Well, I have a network already, you know, and unfortunately, it's based in San Francisco, it's based in West Coast and a little bit East Coast. And so that's probably a stronger way for me to hire is people that I've worked with before and that I know. But I don't think it would be a problem at all. I mean, I was a product of, you know, Hawaii Tech. So yeah, I would have no issue, and I think it could absolutely be done. Yeah.
that's good news.
And now I guess I'm on
Now
the.
you gotta do it.
Now I gotta do it. So can somebody give me an intro? Into
I'm sure somebody can give you an intro here. If we have time for one more question for Ryan.
Dude, tell us the Steve Jobs story. I want to hear the Steve Jobs story again.
Okay, so I think,
Wait, what's the year?
I don't remember.
It was
I mean,
it was
like even
20
Wirecutter was 5 years ago. So I
Yeah,
don't
it was like
remember any-
2014, I think, right?
It
Like
was
2013,
iPhone
2014.
4 is how I
iPhone
remember
4,
like
okay.
generations of iPhones.
Yeah,
It was the one with rounded corners and it was flat in the back and front. It was like the
Oh, it's
best.
my favorite one. I still
It-
had
but
that
they
one until
stopped
like
being, like,
last month.
bubbly.
yeah.
It's all the new ones are modeled after
Yeah,
that.
I don't like this one.
So I think at that point, we were good at our jobs.
Yeah,
We were really good. We could do it in our sleep. We could do it high. We could do it upside down, asleep. We just could do it. right?
you mean when we say
Blogging,
it? Okay,
blogging.
yeah,
We were just so fast.
yeah,
We were like pre-writing stories because we could guess what was going to happen and we would have drafts that we could edit and publish. We were just fast. And we were fast in the field and we were fast in our offices. We were bored. And so we started thinking of hypotheticals and we're like, what if we just had an iPhone? Someone like we just came up with this whole plan and scenario, like And then 3 months later, we had an opportunity. And so
Wait, you mean, so you were like, if this scenario happens, if we had a prototype iPhone,
it sounds
this
crazy.
is how we would respond.
It sounds crazy, but we just had lots of like what ifs.
It sounds like you can predict the future with your like
Well, it's just
attire
like-
for the day you send the paper.
I'm like a pretty powerful like manifesting. Yeah, but we just,
So you had a plan for when, if and when this.
that's the thing that really helped us. So like, we're just bored and we're just thinking of this idea. And then like, the only thing that matters that we had a legal strategy. We're like, what if somebody had like an iPhone prototype and we could get it? We literally 3 or 4 months before asked our legal counsel,
Wow.
if this happened, what would happen? I don't understand. It sounds crazy that I'm saying this now. I'm not making this up, like,
And you're
I'm
not
not
under
like
NDA or anything.
but I'm not like, it sounds so crazy. I'm like, just,
Well, what did the lawyer say though? Like,
He
when they
said
said like, give
if
it back
you-
immediately
you know, if you
or,
get it,
yeah,
you don't know it's real. And if it's real, you can return it.
you don't know it's real. Oh,
You
that's
can return it or you
Yeah, you
have.
can return it
Oh.
and there's no like legal
Yeah.
repercussions.
Return it immediately.
It doesn't say,
Eventually?
they need
It
to-
doesn't
but they also
say.
need to prove that it's theirs.
Oh,
Then
okay.
come claim it.
So they have to, yeah,
So Apple didn't like that.
yeah.
So this is what happened. So I was on sabbatical, of course, and there was this guy and he was having a birthday party at a beer garden. He was an Apple engineer. And I think the new one was so small that it fit inside of a dummy shell of the old one. So if you made calls to test it in public, no one would see it.
No, yeah.
And he got drunk and he left it there and someone found it. Someone who found it, he wrote a couple publications, I think Wired, and a competitor at the time. And he asked like, does anyone want this? And everyone was like
Like at the bar.
paralyzed legally and like, they didn't, what the hell? They didn't know what to do. But
Yeah.
we had thought about it already, so we were able
Yeah.
to act. And then one of my editors just went, got it, and he's like, I think it's real. Opened it up, took photos, did a story. It was a really big story. And then Steve Jobs calls me. I think I'd just gotten out of the water. I was wearing a towel, I remember. And just he called me. He had got my phone number from like someone we both know. And he played, I'd read so many books about Apple. I just kind of like already could have guessed what his strategy would be.
Sure.
And it was good cop. I'm not mad at you. And then it was, but then it was like, okay, we'll get it back to you, but we need a letter from you saying this is yours. That's just the law, dude.
That's what you told it, that's just the law.
I didn't say dude, but I did say that. And I was like, that's just the law, dude, sir.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, and
Yeah.
I'm just a dirty blogger. He got really mad. He was like, well, I can't do that. It's gonna affect the sales of the current model. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't
Yeah,
care at all. Like
it's not
people
your
shouldn't
problem.
be, it's like if 1 month, 2 months before the new iPhone comes out, the amount of people buying old iPhones where they could just wait a month or two and get the newer one for the same amount, to me, that was like service.
Yeah,
Like, that's a really good
Yeah.
public service.
no,
And I was like, he's like, this isn't a joke. You go to jail for this. And I'm like, I'll go to jail for an iPhone. I would have loved to go to jail for an iPhone.
oh my God.
White collar jail, mind you. But I would have gone to jail for an iPhone because that's even more traffic. And at the time, I was a real news hound. I wanted the traffic.
Yeah,
So, and then when he heard that, he knew he was dealing with. He knows crazy. You know that Steve Jobs knows crazy. He knows when someone is a zealot, someone is going to go down, and they don't care about anything. They're gonna do it.
yeah.
He knows, and he backed off. I got the letter, and he really got. He would go on like press. He'd go on to conferences, and he would talk about us as villains, and it was like, oh,
I remember that.
we
yeah.
really triggered him. It's like
Yeah.
we were so small, but I think you're talking about someone who just out negotiated entire industries, like cellular. He got the entire cellular industry to do
Yeah.
like flat rate data at the time.
Yeah.
Music industry, video industry, like movie industry, iTunes. He's just used to stomping everybody. And here we are, these little shitty bloggers just told him what to do, write a letter, or you don't get your phone back.
And he did it.
He had to.
Yeah.
He was really mad. I was just doing my job.
That's amazing.
It was okay. You know, I was really scared because when you think about it, the billionaire really wants to make your life ugly. They can do it forever. And they don't have to think about it. They pay someone to do it.
No, it's true.
So
But I mean, yeah, were you really worried about that?
he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
It's not like a Peter Thiel or like
Yeah.
these new sickos out
Peter
there.
Thiel would do that.
He did it to Gawker and he totally
Yeah.
like shut Gawker down.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't there for that. That would have been way worse.
that was after your time as editor.
Yeah, I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mic drop after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a
Cool.
fun career. It's but really, it had like, I don't know. It just seems surreal because here, I just feel like I'm just a normal person who like
Yeah, you're just in the water every day.
gets drops in on people, maybe gets yelled at, maybe yells at someone. It's just like, I get to be anonymous. It's great. I never talk about work anymore. I really appreciate
I
that.
like that about Hawaii too.
Yeah, yep.
Well, we can open up to questions from the audience. I see Denny has his hand raised.
I wanted to ask a question. So I remember like the late 2000s was like a really magical time for content on the internet. Just from like you go from blogs to like really big blogs. But I don't know if you could keep in touch. Do you feel like there's, what the future of content looks like? Like what's the next? Is there going to be another Wirecutter in like 15 years or is it TikTok or video or
I'm over the hill career-wise, and I had a 5-year non-compete, and it was like good and bad. But I think I can say now, it's really great watching some people on YouTube make a living. I mean, like Facebook groups have destroyed a lot of media the way that like Craigslist destroyed media by eating up classifieds and revenue newspapers. It's just a spectrum and it's rolling and it's always just about like the amount of effort it takes to pull off and the amount of attention it gets. So like writing was pretty low production value. You could put a lot of reporting into it, but usually blogs at the time were just, it's not my style. It's not what I did at all, even though we used the blog platform. It could be really lazy. And podcasts are even lazier because it's a format where you can just talk. And like influencers on YouTube, like I'm into Japanese woodworking, and there's like people with 1 million followers who don't know what they're doing. And then you have all these like carpenters that do know what they're doing, and they know what they're doing. So they're building, they're not making videos on YouTube. And I like to exploit that lack of expertise, like to crush those idiots. I love it. I always love crushing idiots in my work. Because I do believe in people knowing what they're talking about. I know it sounds crazy in 2022. It sounds crazy, but I always find there's a huge gap in people who are good at doing media and people who know what they're talking about, including reporters. Lots of reporters don't know what they're talking about.
So who's doing good work in media right now? That would you say, or like I think an extension of Danny's question is like, what's the platform on which people are doing good work?
I don't really identify as a media person anymore because
Yeah.
I'm really like I had a really hard time. I used to be able to come to anything and just talk. I think business school had to do with that, with all the presentations. You start out real nervous, and then after a couple of years, you just talk. If you've done enough homework, you know your topic matter. You don't need to prepare. And I'm getting really into the limitations. I've been thinking. I have teachers who are Japanese carpenters, and there's this idea of apprenticeships and learning by doing and learning by watching, and that words are useless for teaching someone something ultimately.
Oh, interesting.
And so I've really
Yeah.
started to kind of shut down that part of my brain.
Yeah.
Because words and facts have a lot of limits. You've seen like in politics or like on fake news and, fake news and QAnon. It's like facts don't matter, I think, as much as feelings and just things working.
Yeah.
And so I think to answer your question more directly, come back to it, is I think media that makes people feel something is the most important. And I think it has to do with really old stuff, like film, will never stop. And then there's like, I've been playing like mini golf in like a VR helmet with some friends, and it makes me want to vomit, but we laugh a lot. It's friends like all of it. My friend works at Facebook, so that's his way of socializing, is to make me buy a $300 helmet and play mini golf. And there's something there, you know? But I feel like the thing that's not exciting to me is so many of these things belong to big companies. Like the most popular YouTube people, with the amount of audience they have, they don't make that much money because Google is taking over. So I think it's going to come back around in a bundle, give us some more homegrown stuff. And I think podcasts are really low hanging fruit, but I think anytime it's too easy, then everyone comes in, and then it's the total amount of dollars applied to way too much content, way too many minutes, way too many blog posts, way too many tweets. And I always run the other direction. I'm into the craft approach to media. It's not quite book writing, because books don't make money, but just doing something really powerful and tighter is my style personally. And I think that's timeless. Knowing what you're talking about is timeless.
Ryan, you have a
Ryan.
question?
Hi,
Hey,
so I want to get deeper into the Hawaii conversation and
Yeah.
I feel like I get a lot from Hawaii, but I don't know how to give back,
yeah,
or don't tell people to come here. You know, born and raised here, from the purchase of Lanai to Mark Zuckerberg on Hawaii, I mean, everybody feels something special about Hawaii, the pace, the cultural diversity, anything, the energy in the air, the mana, that it just speaks to people in a deep way. I totally appreciate that. And my wife, she fell in love instantly, and fortunately I found her. But I think when I hear, but I don't, am I gonna hire locally? Or I don't know how to get out into the community, or I like being anonymous, which makes sense, right? You're not mobbed by TMZ chasing you around, waiting for you to fall off your surfboard. I mean, that's great. But I guess
I'm gonna do that now. Yeah.
what you have to do is
Great
cover
idea.
your face with
white,
sunscreen.
Yeah.
where's that costume?
Okay.
So
Yeah, your question.
my question is, what is it gonna take, I think, for more of this, more of the, hey, I think I have something that I can share with the local entrepreneurial community, STEM community, like, not just for yourself, but a lot of these other urban nomads that have set up shop all around Hawaii, but sort of stay in hiding.
Mm.
I kind of want to know what it would take to have you engage.
I mean, I think I guess I'll go first. So I think there's just completely from a like logistical standpoint, there's probably like, I would be up for 5 hours a month of that kind of stuff. I'm just spitballing. So then it's like, where is that going to be the highest leverage? Like I think stuff like this, like obviously we're happy to do this kind of stuff because Cindy asked and we're like, yeah, let's do it. Past that, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe it's something that we could talk about offline and just see like what the opportunities are. I don't know, but I don't really do like meetups and stuff like that. I don't honestly, I don't think there are that many around here, but yeah, I mean, something that I'm very passionate about. Like I want to contribute.
Are there products coming out of the incubators that are like recognized nationally or globally?
The local incubators?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ryan would know.
Yeah, we have some, the biggest, most recent acquisition was Shaka Tea, which was acquired by King's Hawaiian Bread.
Oh, I didn't know that.
California. But, so there's a lot of local manufacturing, obviously capitalizing on Hawaii as a brand. There are some high-tech companies here doing fabrication for NASA and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a broad mix, but small. I understand that it's a tiny community,
Mm.
but speaking as someone here, I kind of want to see that grow for them to maybe think bigger or, understand how being entrepreneurs like yourself.
The thing that's hard about here is it's the ratio of expense of living here to, well, it doesn't necessarily apply in this conversation, but just income potential. It's just like, usually when you're trying to live somewhere else to work remote, or economics, it helps with economics on your side a little bit more. Like I had a really cheap apartment, small. I lived in it until the year after I sold my company. And thrift store, like $20 couch, had to fix it, broke it 3 times, flopping my butt down on it after work or whatever. So, I mean, I had like $1,000 truck. I just didn't spend a lot of money when I was working. So I didn't spend a lot of money. But the economics here it's rough.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, people get priced out when things like tech come here.
And even if you raise money or you're bootstrapping, you're not spending money, because it's also just spending money on stuff that's going to distract you. You're just working and you're just enjoying your work.
I can tell you, me and Denny spend $7,000 a month. That's like the minimum. If we spent any less, I'm not sure it would work here. And that's like the minimum you have to spend in New York or like living anywhere else. And so it's expensive to be here. I can speak a little bit to how this came about and why we continue to do it. So Sandra reached out to me and she asked me to talk at an event for UH. And in that event, the moderator asked me like what advice I would give to other founders to give back to Hawaii. And I think the answer I gave was to do something like this. And so in giving that answer, I was like, well, maybe we should do it because never a better time than now. And then when I thought about like doing an event like this, I thought about what would encourage me and my friends that think like me to do this over and over again every single month. And like, I love hanging out with Zach. And so if this is an opportunity for me to hang out with Zach and Brian and Trung and some of my other friends and work together, that's like really, really appealing to me. And so we were very lucky to have the team here be like, we'll do all the marketing and all of the setup. And all you have to do is find the speakers, show up, have fun, and then go home and go back to trying to make your company work. That made the doing the work of coming out into the community very, very easy for us to do.
Yeah, very intensive. Yep.
Any other questions? Nikhil.
Yeah, I got a question. So I try to start a startup as a solo founder, which is freelancers in various countries doing various coding stuff. And I spent no time thinking about what is the design of the company. You seem to be quite intentional about how you design the various minute details of your companies. So how do you suggest someone try to transition into that framework?
I had a really good coach. Basically, like my friend who I'd known for a long time, Dennis, CEO of Foursquare. He did an extensive search on a coach, and I just took his coach. And her mentor was like, when the New Yorker did a feature on executive coaches, it was her mentor they featured. So she came from really good coaching lineage. And she lit up my brain. And it was just, I could speak very romantically as to when a company's run well and how it feels. And largely, it's about getting to know yourself and getting to know your company. There's people that haven't quite learned who they are yet. Companies are like that. And I remember, I never do stuff like this, but a friend asked me to go talk to some founders. And I'd be like, so what's your company about? And they'd have this crazy, they'd be like, oh, we make this thing that does this. I'm like, what's the thing do? And I met with 8 sets of people and nobody could really articulate who they were, why they existed, why they needed to do this, why it was so important to them, why they couldn't stop thinking about it, why everyone there couldn't stop thinking about it, why it was crazy, why it was crazy that their thing didn't exist in the world, they had to do it. And we had that. We were really focused on what we were doing. And that just made all the difference because then like every single decision that's made is based off of that and broken down into like bits of work. And then everyone's comp is incentivized in the same direction. And whereas like you go to a big company, like no one knows what's going on and like you'll have like two departments are supposed to work together, but then their bonus structures around like their individual work. And it's just, how's anyone supposed to feel good about this? So you just make everything as aligned as possible. I don't know, it's really beautiful when it's all just working well.
What stage are you at right now?
I'm like building the product and trying to get some like demo users to see if it works. It's
I think at that stage, it would be probably, like, what problem do you think you would solve by having more focus on the company structure? And like, what do you mean by company structure? Do you mean like, do you mean like C Corp versus S Corp, or do you mean like, is it an engineering led company? Is it a design led company? Is it marketing led? You know, like what do you mean when you say
yeah, that's a
structure?
good point. I haven't even fully found the question, which is part of the problem. Like, maybe practically, like, should I continue to just have people all over the world who like don't share some like national culture, let alone the state culture? And if not, maybe why not? We're just like, I mean, I generally believe that's hard to do that. So like, how do you think, like, I don't have money, first of all, so maybe
Yeah.
like, does it, like, it's a good point, I should figure out whenever I get there. I'm not sure like romanticize, but like,
No,
Maybe that's-
I think it's a super valid
It's a
question.
really
good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, you know, if I were you guys seen that TED Talk where it's like the one guy dancing and it's not a movement until it's like another guy dancing?
And they're all dancing.
Yeah, I think that's what like you need to find somebody who, like, you need to, like, I mean, it sounds like you're doing the right thing, building your product,
Yeah.
getting people to use it, like, that's great. And then keep an eye out for people that are like, oh yeah, I like the way that you look at the world, or like, I want to, you know, like, nobody's gonna be like, yeah, I want to be part of this right now, because it's like, you have, you know, a few users and like, you know, a hacky product, but you want to look out for people that look at the world the same way that you do. Because the thing that you can't do is go build $1 billion company by yourself, right? Like, you can't, it's just, and why would you want to? Like, that's so.
I know I
Sounds so
focused
lonely.
on later stage stuff, but I remember what Zach is saying. I was in your shoes, and that's the advice I would have wanted to hear, because we just had to build it no matter how. I wrote the first the first 100 articles and edited them. And it was just me and some friends, but I was paying those friends. It was just me. So that's kind of like where you're at. So you kind of don't have to worry about the question. You can think about it a little bit, but it'll develop. But you got to build your MVP. You know, so whatever that takes.
Yeah, Sean.
I have an education question. So my wife's a middle school science teacher, really passionate about public school education. I think it ties into what we were saying about hiring and how you elevate Hawaii's talent up to a level where you can't say, yeah, we could definitely hire from them out of the wage. Is what skills, and this is for Brian, like for you since you have kids, what skills are you making sure your kids develop to be successful in life, and for you who don't have kids, what are you hoping kids develop that maybe they're not learning in school right now?
I'm not big on academics. I was a B student. I went to Montessori school when I was younger. I felt that freedom. I mean, like Jeff Bezos and Google boys, I could smell them as Montessori kids. I know what that looks like and smells like.
I'm a Montessori kid too.
You are? Yeah, you see, it's like public school. Some of the criticisms I have for public school, because I eventually had to go. I got in trouble the first day I didn't ask to go to the restroom because I was used to having autonomy. And when I have to go to the restroom, even as a child, I knew how to do that. And I didn't need to ask someone. But that was shocking. And all the kids were like, "You didn't ask to go to the bathroom." Oh. And I was like, even at that young age, I wasn't like shamed. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with everyone in this room, you know? And I'm making sure that she can say no, because I have a daughter and I think it's really important for women to be encouraged to say no. And I respect And like, we don't like make, if she doesn't want to kiss like an auntie, we don't make her kiss the auntie. We don't make her do things. And we let her stand in high places, like reaching for light switches. And we just look if there's like sharp stuff on the floor, but we let her fall a lot. But emotional intelligence is like, and the work we've done around there is really big in our family. Because we have a lot, Chinese American, there's a ton of intergenerational trauma from like, you know, communism in China, just everything. And so I've done a lot of work on it, and we got a really happy kid, and she doesn't rebel against us because we're not trying to control her all the time. So yeah, I just think being free from that weight, we'll see how that goes. You know, we'll see. That's just kind of what my parenting is like. But I am really into, I'd love to talk with you about this more. I'm into private school. I'm into the best school I could possibly get for my kid. And it's just about the resource and the types of, even just the pay that teachers get in those environments. American public schools is rough. It's hard. I'm sure I don't have to tell you, under-resourced, too many kids. So it's a big problem, but I think it's an important problem to fix. Thanks for your questions. Great.
No more questions?
Thank you, Brian, for coming to campus, and thank you, Zach. We really appreciate you guys.
Bye, everybody.